Welcome to the Better Brain and Body with Billy Merritt. That's me. I am your host, and these live events are meant to inspire and educate and help you to live the healthy lifestyle that you deserve for energy and longevity, a healthy mind, and even weight loss if that's something that's calling you. So, if you have any questions about my classes, by the way, or if you have any questions about the Infinity Superfoods, how they can help you, please feel free to drop a question in the comments below, and I will always do my best to answer you. So today we are jumping into part 2 about brain health and why there is now an urgent call to action related to COVID. Last week, I shared with you that I found several new articles were recently published by Johns Hopkins and Harvard Medical School and the Mayo Clinic, which are all reliable resources. My search was actually motivated by what recently happened to 3 of my friends who contracted COVID. And so somehow this information that I read about has not been thoroughly circulated yet, and it needs to be. So these classes that I'm doing over the next several weeks are for anyone who wants to learn more about how COVID is causing long-term brain damage. Yes, potentially long-term brain damage. And what things you can do or not do in your lifestyle pertaining to your diet, sleep, and exercise that can make your brain and body just as resilient to the potential damages from COVID as possible. How the immune system is controlled by your brain. We're going to go into that. And how you can speed your recovery and mitigate the potential for long-term damages if you do contract COVID. And then, of course, this is not just for COVID. These are things we're going to be talking about that will improve just every aspect of your life, right? Okay, so stay tuned. So you know me, Billy Merritt. Do you want to take your diet and brain health to new heights? I have a line of products called Infinity Greens that can change your life. So just visit infinitygreens.com for more information. So now we're going to focus on the big picture of your health. But before we jump in, I just first want to share with you, in case you weren't here last week, I did the first session last week, and what exactly inspired me to do this class with you on such a short notice. Why the urgency? It was a friend of mine who contracted COVID. They reported how long after she had contracted COVID, she was still having this ongoing brain fog, right? For over 3 months. She just felt tired and low energy, anxiety, and poor memory. And then this happened to a housemate and another friend too. So here is where we are going to jump in. So following up from my friends, I began a search on the web if there have been any more reports about the potential COVID effects that can have a long-term effect on the brain. And here's what I discovered. Almost 15% of people who are contracting COVID have been dealing with a long-term recovery with measurable brain damage. So now actually a significant number of people dealing with COVID experience symptoms of temporary damage to the neurological system, temporarily losing sense of smell and loss of taste are just examples, as we often hear about those. In most cases, however, these people get their sense and taste back within a couple weeks. But the longer term damages are now being identified and are now just starting to get out. The word is getting out, but not fast enough right now. So it is known that all viruses can potentially and often do attack the nervous system. But this 7 million Americans and another 27 million people worldwide, again, that 15% are dealing with the long-term damages, causing the ongoing cognitive and psychological problems with the memory, the attention, later leading to anxiety, depression, and post-traumatic stress disorder. So let's not let this get away from us. The discovery by doctors just to explain what's going on here, the discovery from the doctors from Johns Hopkins University and Harvard Medical School found that it's large cells, okay? And they are called megakaryocytes. Megakaryocytes are being found in the brain capillaries of individuals actually who have died from COVID-19 infection. Now, these megakaryocytes are making platelets, part of the body's natural clotting system, right? Platelets are blood for blood clotting to stop from bleeding. And however, in the brain, these cells should actually not be there. So this is an issue essentially reducing blood flow in the brain. And lower blood flow equals less oxygen, which leads to brain damage. These are all things we covered last week. And so this is in case you missed out. I want to make sure you know where and why we're doing this. Okay. So in essence, though, the most important key to preserve brain health is to optimize blood flow for oxygen and nutrient delivery throughout the brain. The brain is a vascular organ with 400 miles of vessels, believe it or not. So this is all not for fear. This is a call to action. And so here's the bottom line. There are things you can do with your lifestyle. We're talking the right diet and exercise to mitigate the risks of contracting any invasive disease in the first place, any flu, any infection, any strain of COVID. We're talking your immune system, right? That's actually the brain. The immune system is not this thing in the body. It's an intelligence that all starts here. And so if and when COVID is contracted, the symptoms of brain damage can be reduced. That's the good news. And we can definitely speed the recovery, essentially making the body and especially the brain more resilient to prevent the long-term damages. You can do that with your lifestyle. So now you may know that brain health is my jam. If you don't know me, my name, again, is Billy Merritt, but brain health is my passion. And I've actually been teaching these brain health classes for a long time, since it was actually healing my own brain that required 14 years of my complete focus, while having thousands of seizures during this period was massively inconvenient, to say the least. This provided an extraordinary opportunity to learn so much about brain health from the top doctors in the world of neurology. It was mapping out the path to my own healing that I now have the tools to share information out of the ordinary that I can guarantee can make a big difference for you, even if you feel you're already healthy or not. So in the past classes that I've done, goals with my workshops have included mood and energy enhancement, stress management, improved mental clarity and focused, Alzheimer's prevention, linking brain health and the immune system, and weight loss relative to brain health as well. All important stuff, right? Now, of course, what's going on in the world, there is an urgency like never before. So over the next few weeks, we're going to be talking about stress, how the body naturally produces cortisol, a stress hormone causing oxidative chemical stress, and how to mitigate this to prevent brain damage. We're going to be talking about exercise, the right and wrong exercise. Ultimately, exercise, believe it or not, grows the brain. It's brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF. It's a growth hormone for neurogenesis. It's like natural miracle grow in the brain. We're going to be talking about how sleep kicks in what is called the glymphatic system. It's newly discovered, and how that absolutely can affect the longevity and the resilience of your brain, and then what we can do to optimize it. So we're going to be covering the most essential things. And I'm going to break this down for you to make it all easy and user-friendly as possible. So my classes in the past have been packed with information, but this is the time that I'm going to make this is short and sweet with the highest priority stuff. Okay, so I also have new information I haven't shared before that's specifically for making your body more resilient to COVID. And this is material that I'm really excited to share with you. So today we are going to focus on diet. So let's get started here. Okay, so everything we eat is a huge influence. It has a huge influence on our brain health and, of course, the immune system too. Now, we certainly want diet to be part of the solution rather than exacerbate the problem, right? Now, when it comes to brain health, it really is all about the anti-inflammatory diet. This is the most critical thing, that inflammation is the biggest enemy when it comes to brain health. The inflammation we're talking about is different from the commonly thought of inflammation associated with aches and pains, right? This inflammation is an inflammation of tissues in the body on a microscopic level. And so the problem is it reduces blood flow, just like what these new unwelcomed platelets are doing. They are reducing blood flow, causing this long-term damage. So I've always emphasized in my past brain health classes that if there ever was a silver bullet to health in general, and especially brain health, it's nutrient-rich blood. Circulation of this silver bullet is what preserves the health of everything in the body, especially the brain. So in essence, the key is to hone the anti-inflammatory lifestyle in order to optimize blood flow. Does that make sense? So, like I mentioned, the brain is a vascular organ, 400 miles of blood vessels. So we need those blood vessels working at an optimum level. So the problems caused from restricted blood flow, it basically causes brain damage, because it's limiting the delivery of vital oxygen and nutrients, right? So it's also essential for removing metabolic waste from cells in your brain. Otherwise, it lingers in tissues, essentially going rancid, and just causes more inflammation. It causes everything to age faster. Reduced blood flow shrinks the brain, especially the hippocampus, which is your memory center. And naturally, this is a factor of Alzheimer's more than doubling in the last decade. So then, of course, with all of this, there's going to be the follow-up sensations of brain fog and being forgetful, lack of motivation, feeling tired or depressed. So in essence, part of the key is to preserve brain health to make it more resilient to the potential damages from these platelets and to hone that anti-inflammatory lifestyle. That's the nutshell of what we're going for here. Now, with your diet, okay, it's more than just less processed sugar and more blueberries, as huge as that is huge. But we're talking specific foods to just eat more of and to eat less of. So now here's the thing. You know what's healthy in terms of the right and wrong foods for your comprehensive health. We all know. We've been inundated with this information. Now, when it comes to truly health-enhancing stuff, of course, we're not talking about salad packs with iceberg lettuce and ranch dressing. I mean, what the heck is ranch dressing to begin with? So I actually am going to share with you. Well, I am going to go over some of these foods, but there is a cheat sheet in the back of my book, Infinity Health Manual, okay, of which foods are which, okay? So I'm going to read just a few to give you an example, all right? And I want you to copy this and put it on your fridge. But for life force enhancing foods we want to add to our routine, we're talking kale, chard, mustard greens, collard greens, spinach, arugula, sprouts, parsley, cabbage, sauerkraut, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, green beans, peas, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, strawberries, watermelon, pears, apples, oranges, papaya, kiwi. You get the point, right? And then I have the list of foods in moderation. And then, of course, I have the life force dampeners, okay? And so we need to have this kind of information, just something that we have constant access to, because we have been cultured in this modern day and age to just eat, anything and everything. So basically, in the next 15 minutes, I'm giving you chapter 1 through 8, super abbreviated. I want you to get all of this packed in, and it's going to be something to absorb, but you can also play this video. It's going to be recorded, and I'm also going to provide these notes on my blog, on the blog page at infinitygreens.com. And I do have some things to share with you at the end too, specifically about things that you can take home. So, and I also want you to check out my recipes. I have a whole recipes section, how to make all of these life force enhancing foods really palatable and easy. Even if you're living the bachelor lifestyle, you can make this stuff easy. And so, I can just give you an example. I have a very honed and simplified diet that for me is just, it's not discipline anymore. That you eat these foods on a routine basis and your body just gets it. And you have a change in your tastes and preferences. And I just don't like food that is sweet and popular as it may be, whether it's cotton candy, ice cream, or Skittles. These foods, I just have no desire for these foods anymore. If I go to a birthday party, for me, it's actually discipline to eat a piece of cake and not say anything and just express appreciation so that I'm not the wet towel at a birthday party, right? So, but for me, I just have this routine that has just become second nature, and my body loves it, and it's not even faintly boring at all. So we're going to talk about that. Now, what is important here, though, is to know just how much impact these foods specifically have on your brain. See, the status quo is people think that if I eat healthier, I might live longer, I might lose weight, I might have more energy. No. Having the information of how all this works inside the body is what gives you the motivation to know just how much it works and just how much you're going to get out of it. And I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. And we're not necessarily talking about a strict diet here. We're actually just talking about what you're eating most of the time. So let's jump in with sugar. Like I already mentioned sugar. Now, people think that, okay, sugar can't be all that bad. After all, it's everywhere. It's everyone's eating it, and there's a little in all foods everywhere. And exactly. And look at the statistics of obesity and type 2 diabetes and heart disease, okay? The processed sugar, it hides in everything. As natural as some of these foods may sound, no matter how organic these energy bars are, and cereal and all sorts of baked foods, they call it in the natural food store, they call it evaporated cane juice. Same thing, it's processed sugar. And see, it has a lot of problems. Sugar is fuel. That it's because it digests so quickly, it blows up in the body. Your blood sugar, boom, goes way up. It blows up, and your body's like, oh my God, what do we do with all this blood sugar? And it's like, it just slaps it on your body as fat to be burned later. So that's why so quickly sugar can cause your fat cells literally to plump out. And so then you actually need more. It's actually a chemical addiction that creates, since the body has become unadapted to burning healthy fuel, right? So my office is outside. That's why you may hear birds chirping and wind chimes, and you may even hear a neighbor's donkey, just a heads up. So, and then with the brain, okay? High blood sugar creates inflammation. It's absolutely an inflammatory. And the brain, remember, it slows down the blood flow. And what happens when the inflammation is caused, like the short-term effect, is the brain barrier becomes resistant to absorbing insulin. And that damages receptors from this inflammation. So, and that hippocampus, that memory center, it needs insulin. It's one of the first things to get neglected. That's your memory. So the body essentially becomes adapted to this weakening cycle. It's a downhill spiral. And this is the last thing we want, of course. Life is too good. So it is important to really know just that processed sugar is something to take seriously. Having it once in a while at a birthday party, again, is not going to hurt you, okay? But having it on a routine basis, even a small amount, it is chipping away at your health, at your brain health. And so with the sugar, you got to cut the riffraff. You got to detox your pantry. You got to get it out of reach for at least a period. Again, the reason I explained, it's chemically addicting for the body. Okay, and so we're talking the boxed cereals, the baked foods, okay, all the bottled drinks. So really, I mean, processed sugar, quite frankly, it is virtually the worst thing in anybody's diet. And I do, just while on the topic of processed sugar, just loop in processed carbohydrates. Okay, the big one being wheat flour. Having a little bread, a little pasta, baked goods, not a big deal necessarily. But wheat flour basically it's digested in a very similar way. It just blows up your blood sugar. Remember, you blow up the blood sugar and your body doesn't know what to do with it, assuming you're not running a marathon right away. It slaps it on the body as fat to be burned as fuel later. But your body doesn't like burning fat because it actually makes your body hurt. It makes your body uncomfortable. And I will explain that in a few minutes. So we basically want to tame our blood sugar. We want to cut out these foods that are sending our blood sugar, that's creating a freak show with our blood sugar, right? So, and it can take a couple weeks to sort of break this chemical addiction, right? Okay, so we want to replace these foods with the elites, okay? Of course, we know instinctively the foods high in antioxidants, of course, right? And so this is, of course, just raw fruits and vegetables. That these foods, most of them have some antioxidants. Antioxidants are basically what hunt down the inflammation causing free radicals. Okay, free radicals are basically electrons in the body that go zinging around creating inflammation. And remember, we're going for the anti-inflammatory diet. So the highest antioxidant foods, what are those? Berries, especially blueberries and blackberries. I want to talk about green foods. These are the most important right there with the high antioxidant fruits like blueberries, greenberries. Wow, there should be greenberries. My goodness, maybe there are. Actually, camu berries, they're green. And camu berries, I actually put in the Infinity C formula. How about that? Okay, so green foods. I want to talk about why green foods are so important for your brain. And I'm not talking iceberg lettuce, like I said. Now, green foods are extremely nutritive, but equally important with getting nutrients in the body is getting toxins out of the body. And that is what chlorophyll does. Chlorophyll is what makes all green foods green. And I know we're always thinking about the right nutrients, but again, we have to get the toxins out. So diet is a two-part process, right? So we need these detox foods because every day toxins we're exposed to from the air we breathe, the water that we're drinking, the foods, the household cleaners, everywhere we go. So we need this chlorophyll. And the highest content foods with chlorophyll are the darkest green: kale, arugula, chard, spinach, blue-green algae, right? Basil and mustard greens. Now, for cleansing foods, of course, we know fiber is important. We're trying to strengthen our digestion and elimination. And so the most important are the soluble fibers from plant food. Soluble fiber from raw fruits and vegetables are what break down and are the best for your digestive system, your gastrointestinal system. So it's the insoluble fiber from grains like whole wheat and quinoa and brown rice that have some value, but we need the soluble from plant foods, right? Actually, for grains, oatmeal is the exception. Oatmeal is soluble fiber. It's an extraordinary food. Oatmeal is very underestimated. I can guarantee you, if you have oatmeal for breakfast every morning, you are doing your body an extraordinary favor, okay? Let's talk about fats. We really need to limit the processed oils, especially canola oil, safflower oil, corn oil, hydrogenated vegetable oil, right? These oils are essentially rancid. They have free radicals that attack your thyroid. They're inflammatories. We need to, again, we're going for the anti-inflammatory diet. So for processed oils, we're doing a little better with coconut, butter. I know that may surprise you, but a little butter is okay. And ghee. The reason that these butters are okay, or the reason that these fats are okay, is that they are saturated fats, which saturated fats are just resistant to breaking down. They don't get the inflammation causing free radicals. Now, yes, we need to limit our saturated fat intake. That saturated fat can raise cholesterol, okay? But these aren't fattening foods, so, you know, having some cholesterol producing foods in your diet are perfectly fine. Is having a tablespoon of coconut oil or butter or ghee per day gonna hurt your cholesterol? Probably not. Is it gonna increase your risk for heart disease? No. So, but the elites really are the whole unprocessed fats. Whole unprocessed foods are always the best. And what are the best unprocessed fats? We're talking raw nuts and seeds, especially almonds, the healthiest nuts and seeds, walnuts, flax and chia seeds, raw, unheated, okay? Because we're trying to get the heat-sensitive fats, the unsaturated fats, we're trying to get them in their unadulterated state. When these unsaturated fats are heated, they create the inflammation-causing free radicals. So again, these whole unadulterated, unprocessed fats are natural anti-inflammatories, right? And then, of course, we know about the omega-3 fats, the essential fatty acids. And there are supplements with the omega fatty acids that can be somewhat useful for this purpose. But again, I'm a fan of the whole unadulterated food. For essential fatty acids, we have salmon. That's the highest source of essential fatty acids. And flax and chia seeds are great. They're good. And if you do feel you need to up your omega-3s significantly and you are on a vegan routine, there are actually algae extracted omega-3 products, okay? Another whole food that is superior for natural fats that's especially good for the brain, avocados. Avocados are an awesome food. Now for protein, my top choices are the nuts and seeds, and salmon is awesome, right? I think eggs are really good. Now, animal protein, we do need to be aware that animal protein is, they are inflammatories. So beef and pork especially. Now, is having beef and pork from time to time going to hurt? No, but it's really not doing you any favors either, honestly. Okay, I know that you get B12 from these foods, but you can get it from salmon as well. And salmon is a superior food nutritively. And remember, we're trying to cut these inflammatories, especially now. Dairy, it's not an inflammatory, but it's not doing much for you as well in terms of enhancing your health. Dairy is a bit, it reduces the the strength of your digestive system due to dairy products being mucus forming primarily. A little yogurt, is that going to hurt? No, definitely not. A little butter, it's not going to hurt. Is having 2 cups of milk every day, it's not going to be doing you any favors, right? So for more protein, to cut back on animal protein, to cut back on the dairy, I think protein supplements can absolutely be helpful, but they need to be the elites, of course. And you may know that that's a big part of what I'm all about. I have a product, Infinity Protein, sprouted hemp and brown rice, superior proteins. Now, with protein and fat, I just want to mention there's the buzz about the keto diet. Okay, the keto diet, it's short for ketogenic diet. I did the ketogenic diet for years because it's actually, for some unknown, mysterious reason, it is an anti-seizure. So I was using this natural keto diet to reduce seizures. It's about reducing carbs. So this has become very popular in the last few years. And can it offer some advantage? A little bit. But we want to be into going for the plant keto diet, the healthy, unadulterated plant food proteins and fats. Okay, we're not talking the sausage and bacon keto diet here. So now, in general, people who are on the keto diet, just health is a priority. So they are eating healthier. But I think, honestly, in general, you're better off having oatmeal, a little bit of rice with your salmon and vegetables. I think you're doing yourself some favors having some good quality carbohydrates in your diet. Now, the brain does like ketosis, and that you actually get that naturally when you don't have food for 12 hours. Your body goes into ketosis naturally just overnight when you sleep. So it isn't like a necessary thing to be in a ketogenic routine all the time. Again, it can be advantageous for some people, especially if you're going with the elites. But my vote is to have some rice and oatmeal. I want to talk about some foods integral for brain health, fermented foods, especially kimchi and raw, unheated sauerkraut. It's thanks to the healthy bacteria that are the building blocks of a strong digestive system, right? Foods that build that microbiome, the digestive chemistry, that powerful atmosphere that actually, believe it or not, this microbiome actually regulates neurotransmitters in the brain, and it actually the digestive system is a big part of what creates serotonin for general stress management, and it affects your emotional health. So the importance of a healthy gastrointestinal system cannot be emphasized enough for the health of your brain. It's absolutely a pillar of your brain and immune health. So it is super connected with the brain. And I've definitely talked about this in the past in other brain health workshops. So even just after a few days of removing too many animal products, too many dairy products, sugar, and foods with wheat flour, you are gonna maybe notice a bit of a toxic funk lifting your body. It may be like a bit of a hangover for a day. Okay, it can be a little uncomfortable, but your gastrointestinal system is going to have a sigh of relief, and absolutely, after a week or so, you will feel another degree of life force and mental clarity. I can guarantee it. So, just to touch on supplements briefly. Also known as superfoods are what I'm most interested in, not your multivitamins that are not made from food. We're talking about special herbs and foods that are just not in your everyday diet that are exceptionally high in antioxidants that are good for detoxification, blood flow, that support the microbiome in your gut, and of course, your brain health. I do want to mention number one for the brain is actually turmeric. It is nature's number one anti-inflammatory when combined with pepper. And actually, this is tried and true. It's been known in Ayurveda for millennia, actually. And it's thought that because they are often having turmeric with pepper, those two together, the pepper is basically a catalyst for the turmeric. For the turmeric is much more effective. So, and it's thought that that's why dementia is virtually non-existent in India because of how much of a positive influence it is for brain health. And of course, that's what Infinity Turmeric is all about. It is all about the turmeric extract and the pepper extract, and it's the curcuminoids are the active element in turmeric. So I am not going to tell you that you have to have all of my products to be healthy, but the fact is these medicinal herbs do work. So, and then of course, other supplements, probiotics, blue-green algae. Again, these are the foundational ingredients in Infinity Greens. And I think that there's some value, especially now, in taking a vitamin D3 supplement if you feel that there's any compromise in your immune system. I think it's important to go for the vegan D3, that the popular D3 supplements are actually made from lambskin, and that there is a vitamin D3 that is made from lichen. And there are a few other herbs and superfoods. Actually, there are many, but these are the most important to me that I just mentioned. But there are many that are maybe worth looking into for you, like bacopa, ginkgo, klamath algae, holy basil, ashwagandha. Actually, those are in Infinity Greens. So, and then of course we'll talk about this next week. But I just want to mention hydration. That's obviously a part of your digestive health, and it's really important. So we're going to talk more about that next week. So that's it. Okay. Now, if you have any specific questions about what we have discussed today, please feel free to comment below, and I will do my best to answer them next week. I will start with answering the questions I received today. And by the way, just as a thank you for tuning in, and since I've told you all about the Infinity products, I want you to check out my website, infinitygreens.com. And a coupon code I'm going to give you is Infinity Live or Infinity Live also. And this is for 10% off. So give it a shot. I'm totally confident you're going to be really impressed with how these superfoods make you feel. So in the meantime, I just invite you to get started now, today. Do visit infinitygreens.com, read my blogs. There's a ton more of this information where I do touch on a lot of these topics. So that's it. Let's motivate together on this for the sake of just living our lives to the full potential and to receive our greatest, to reveal our greatest, right? More than ever, the human body and human spirit needs a boost. And so let's be in on that together. Thank you for taking the time to participate today, and stay tuned for our next live session on August 25th at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. This next class, we're going to be zeroing in on exercise for improving brain growth, actually, with the brain-derived neurotrophic factor, the growth hormones in the brain. And by the way, if you would like to check out the notes from this episode, you can find them also on my blog at infinitygreens.com. Okay, that's it. Take care. Bye-bye now. Hey, if you're not on my email list, then you definitely want to be. Just visit infinitygreens.com to start receiving these tips on how to live your best life now. If you've enjoyed this episode of Watching the Better Brain and Health with me, then please like, share, and subscribe on whatever platform you're using to watch. This helps me to reach more people, grow the show, and just getting out more content that supports your overall health and well-being and everyone else's too. Bye for now.